Here we have an Asus laptop that came in for repair, and this one is a whole different animal. It's not like the ROG that we usually get. We already disassembled the board, and this one is model number NJ550JW. It came in for a black screen. The laptop does power on, and Big Boss told me that it's a backlight issue. I told him to disassemble the board so we can work on it. What I want to do is read what the customer wrote, and we'll take it from there. The customer said, I have an Asus laptop. The issue is in the screen. Can't see anything. I sent to one shop around me to get it done, but they did nothing. I did some research, and watching you repair for the same issue, I think about screen capacitors or something related to that. At the beginning, the issue was coming and going, then converted to permanent problem. I have an old laptop, but I like it, and I want to repair it. Please advise. The only advice I have for you is we're going to start working on your board to see what's going on. Now, the first thing that we did was replace the screen, and that did not solve the problem. That's Big Boss's job. He takes care of everything else, and I work on the motherboard. Now, Big Boss did tell me that we have a problematic pin right here, but to me, that's not backlight related. We are able to see an image on the screen, but no backlight. Backlight is right here. High voltage, right here. So this, it looks okay to me, even though the pin looks a bit bent, but still, it looks okay to me. I do see signs of something here. I do not know what that is. Maybe it came like that from the factory. What's going on around the connector? I cannot tell if those are filters or they are resistors. When I say filters, I mean inductors. So that's what I see around the screen connector. That's the LCD connector right here. And beyond that, I do not see anything. Why don't we measure what we see and see what happens? Meter in diode mode. Let's measure from here to here. It's continuous, continuous. And those are data lines, so those are not going to affect backlight, but still. I just want to go over them quick. And this here, I do not know if those are supposed to be inductors or resistors, but if we go to resistance mode, we should be able to tell. I'm reading exactly 10K, so we're going to assume this is a resistor. And I'm reading 0 ohms. Now, if I got a weird reading on this one here, something in the mega ohms, then we would assume that we have a blown component. But we got exactly 10K, so we're going to assume that this one is a resistor. This is not connecting to the backlight circuit anyway. See, that's the backlight circuit. It's going here, and it's going to back of the board. So let's flip the board and see what's going on the back. Exactly at that spot right here. And if we go on the back here, what do we see? Look at this. I see something going on right here. Something ripped from the back here. And it looks like solder was attempted. Somebody tried to solder something in this area. This does not look flat. Let me put the light down a bit. You see, this was scratched. And it looks like maybe signs of scratching or signs of soldering. I do not know if we have anything here. I do not know if we should have a component that goes from here that connects this with this. I do not know if we should have, probably not. And I do not know if we should have something here. And this one looks factory. You can tell the joints, they look factory. So we're going to assume that we do not have a component here, just a placeholder. a similar component goes here, but since the joints look factory, we're going to assume there's nothing here. This looks factory also, but those, not so sure. Let's see what's around. You see, you can tell this area was wiped, right? Look at this. Signs of flux. How can we figure this out? Let's measure in diode mode. Most likely we're going to have positive here, and we do. Meter in diode mode. I was in resistance mode. So if we measure here, I'm getting OL, OL, OL. If we measure here, we have ground. So that's ground, ground. Let me take a moment to look up some information online. I want to see if I'm able to download a circuit diagram, a board view diagram, or whatever information I can find. Maybe we can look for a high resolution image of this side of the board and try to figure it out. I'm going to take a few minutes, and I'll be back. All right, so doing some research, I was able to find this document, a PDF file for NJ550JW, and it's only what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 pages, right? 2, 4, 6, 7 pages. If we click on the last page, that's the circuit that we are interested in. But this is not a board view diagram, it's a PDF file, and I'm zoomed in to the max. I cannot tell, like, look at this component here with the green lines. This is a placeholder. No component should connect there, and we can tell this by the joints that came from the factory. We can tell that we do not have a component. But in the PDF diagram, we see a component. So we cannot really click on the component, and we cannot tell if that component is a no connect or if we should have a component there. The diagram is not going to help us in any way, shape, or form. Now, I found something else. I looked for some board images, and I came across this one here. The image is not very clear, but we can tell. All right, so if you look here, we can tell that we have a component right here. And if we go a bit down, like I thought, we do not have a component, a three-legged component down at the bottom. It looks like that's the only component that we need. The good news, I was lucky enough to find a board diagram. That almost always never happens, but I did find a board diagram, and I was able to tell what's going on here. We have an inductor right here, just like I thought, labeled L4520. If we click on this side of the inductor, we can tell it connects with the cap. If we click on the top side of the inductor, all right, we know what's going on now. So basically what we need to do is we need to connect an inductor from here to here. That's what we need to do, and hopefully we can get a backlight. Actually, why don't we look at the board diagram, and we go all the way here. And now we flip the board, and you see we are connecting. We are back to where we were, the rib trace. So whatever we see here is not an issue. This is a test point and not a via. Yeah, I do not see a trace, so not a problem. Man, that's a big tip I have. Are we going to be able to work with it, or do I need to change it? And we're going to grab an inductor I believe this one is probably an 805 or 603. Let me try 603 and see. If not, then we're gonna jump to 805. What we can do is I can add some flux onto the tip of my tweezer like this, and then we can grab that component like a magnet. Is it 603 or do we need to go bigger? That's the question. Perfect. The size is perfect. Amazing. Now the component may not reach all the way because this should be here, but because it's broken, it's raised up a bit, but that's okay. We can add a solder blob to make it reach. No problem. That's one side. And we're gonna have to press down like this. And like this. Whatever tools we are using on our bench here, flux, the tweezer, soldering iron, hot air station, the grinding pan, braid wick, whatever you need, log in to NorthridgeFix.com, add to cart, checkout, pay, and we almost always ship out same day. Most items are in stock, and whatever you need, you can just buy it directly off our site, including the filter I just put. We have sizes 201, 402, 603, 805, and I believe 1206. You can get the whole package. If you are in the same type of business or you are a hobbyist, you can get all your stuff from one place. Some people ask, why should I buy from NorthridgeFix? Why not? You benefit from the videos, you want to show your support, you buy stuff from us. We have people that email us every day and they ask, how can we donate? How can we donate? They leave a comment, how can we donate? We do not have a specific link for donation, but you can donate with a good word of mouth. You can donate by clicking on that like button, by commenting, by sharing, by subscribing, and by buying products off our site. If you still want to donate, just send us a check and write to Alex. Have a nice lunch or a cup of coffee. I would appreciate it very much. It's not about the money, but it's because you are showing your support. Life is about give and take. You don't just take. You give and take. All right, so hopefully that fixes the problem. If we measure in diode mode, we should have a beep and a beep. Perfect. Very nice. All right, I'm back. I handed the motherboard over to Big Boss to reassemble and test, and the sad news is same issue, no backlight. We do see an image, but we're not getting a backlight. I told him to take out the board again. I just want to look at this one last time. We're gonna try to figure things out. If not, then what can you do? I want to look at the board diagram one more time. Now the via that we have broken, if you look on the right side here, that point is not referencing any nets, any net points. If we look at the one next to it, that's what we replaced, L4520. Let's measure for a short at that point. I already measured before, but just do it one more time. We are reading OL, and that's good. I want to flip the board, and we're going to look at the LCD connector. Okay, so you know how on the LCD connector we noticed one damaged pin? I'm just looking at all options here. Let me just measure in diode mode quick. and we have no reading. Ohms mode, we have no reading. Or we do have a reading. 13 kilo ohms on pin number 1. Okay, and that's pin number 40. Does pin number 40 connect to anything on this side of the board? Just curious. And it doesn't. Does it connect to anything on back of the board? And it does. So the area that we worked on is right here, to your left. And pin number 40 of the LCD connector connects with somewhere here, right next to the area that we worked on. We have a switch, and right above the switch we have 2 caps, so pin number 40 connects. I'm looking at the board view diagram. So pin number 40 connects here, and it connects here. It also connects here, and it connects here, and it connects here. This component does not look too good, right? What is that component? L4502 inductor. So let's measure in ohms mode, and we are out of focus. What the? I'm reading 12 kilo ohms. Hold on. Hold on. I'm reading 12 kilo ohms. We should be reading 0 ohms. Let me take a look at the board view diagram one more time. We have a resistor which is missing on the board because it's a no connect. We do not have a component there. And we have an inductor. Inductor should be 0 ohms. L4502. One more time. Let's measure here. And I'm reading I'm reading in the kilo ohms. Right now it's reading 1.8 kilo ohms. I mean, what's pin number 40? It's cam 3 volts, 3V. What does this have to do with backlight? I don't know. I mean, the component does look discolored. Let's go ahead and change it. If we connect to an external monitor, we are able to see an image, no problem. So at least the customer can still use it on an external monitor, but I'm not gonna give up yet. Whatever we did was 100% valid. I want to measure the inductor off circuit. And what readings do we have? And we have readings in the kilo ohms. That's definitely a problem. And that's why that component was discolored, because the component is blown. If you are measuring a resistor in circuit and that resistor is 100 ohms and you get a reading of, let's say, 60 ohms, that resistor is good, because if that resistor was bad, it would read a much higher value and not a lower value. So we know the inductor is bad. Could that be causing or interfering with the backlight circuit? I do not know what cam underscore 3V means. 3V is 3 volts. What is cam? Does it have to do anything with the camera? And I'm assuming this one is a 603 size inductor as well, just like the one that we replaced. Add some flux to the tweezer. Very nice. Now, one last thing I want to look at is, what's this guy here? Let's measure this guy. Board view diagram. What do we have? L4522. We should be reading 0 ohms. Meter in diode mode. We should get a beep, a continuous beep, and we do. And we have 2 diodes on the top. Let me put the red probe here. Black on the bottom. Oh well. Oh well. Red probe on the bottom. 0.23. 0.23. I do not have reason to believe that we have an issue with this diode. And do we have same reading? 25, 25, and if we flip the probes, oh well, oh well. What are those anyway? Let me take a look at the board view diagram. Oh, lid can be an issue. If the motherboard thinks the laptop is closed, the backlight is not going to turn on. It's going to turn itself off. Let me just quickly check where this point is connecting to. Actually, that's lid. Pin number 3. I mean pin number 1. Anything going on? Is that making a connection anywhere? Yes. We have a connection right here next to U3001. Let's take a look at U3001. And I was able to find that quick. Right here next to the chip. IO chip. 100K resistor. So I want to read 100K or lower. I do not want to read higher. Meter in ohms mode. And I have exactly 100K. Wow. Okay, anything else that connects with lid? We have something on the very far left here. Capacitor and a diode. The cap was left out from the factory. We're gonna measure in diode mode. If we put the probes like this, we have a reading of 0.55, and if we flip the probes, we have OL, so the diode is good. Does lid connect to anything on back of the board? Let me check the board view quick. I do see that it connects on the back here. Okay, so we do have this component. We do not have that component on the board by default. Right here. We do have a reading here. We do have a reading here. If we flip the probes, we have OL and we have OL. So no reason to think that this component is bad. And anything else? Looks like we also have something on the far right, a connector. So one of the pins of the connector is connecting to lid. I will have to check the cable on the laptop to make sure the cable is good. I mean, I'm just going through all the options. We're gonna have to check on that cable. That's the connector right here. The connector looks good. What else? Oh, we have backlight enable PCH. That's a big one. That's a very big one. Problem could be our PCH. Where does this connect to? PCH is on back of the board or front of the board, whichever way you see it. Our PCH is right here, and look at this. It's a dot. It's one pad under the PCH. Great. Backlight enable. You see? That could be our problem because we did everything that we could. Problem could be our PCH, which deems this board a no fix. Now, I do not know if replacing that second inductor is gonna help in any way, shape, or form. But one last thing I wanna check on is that flex cable that connects to the connector, this one here. And I also wanna check on the LCD cable for the screen. And then I'm gonna ask Big Boss to reassemble and test. If it doesn't work, then it's likely a problem with the PCH. We already tried another screen and we did everything that we could. I do not see anything else faulty on the board. Yeah, we should be good. And I think lid was pin number 3. Right, let me check quick. Yeah, so it's pin 1, 2, 3, third pin. Right, and one last thing I want to check is the LCD cable. Pin 40, pin 1, 2, 3. We are good. And we're gonna check the other end of the cable. And that cable is good. Check the back, check the front. The cable looks good. Okay, so we are done. I'm gonna hand the board over to Big Boss to reassemble and test, and if we still do not have a backlight, then the problem is most likely PCH related, and we're gonna deem it a no fix. I'll be back to let you know. Big Boss is almost done with the reassembly. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't, then what can you do? I mean, I'm still gonna reach out to the customer and see if he wants the whole motherboard replaced in case we could not fix it, because this laptop was sent from Canada and the customer really cares about the laptop. Oh, you do see an image but no backlight, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, right there. We do see the image but no backlight. So we're gonna deem it a no fix due to PCH related problem. Thank you, Big Boss. We're done. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. Leave it down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll do something else in the next video.